Hi students, we're back for our third lesson in personality theories, and here we're going to talk about the Neo-Freudians and psychodynamic theory. These are the thinkers that were impacted by Freud's psychoanalytic theory and implemented them in their own psychodynamic practices. We've got 4 different individuals to talk about, so let's get started. Remember that psychodynamic theory is talking about the fact that we all have these inner conflicts and struggles, that we have the biological urges and aggression that we keep in our unconscious, and we have to balance those between the id, the ego, the superego, according to Freud. Well, the people who came after Freud were guys like this. First off, Carl Jung. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychologist, and he worked closely for Freud until they had a falling out in disagreements about theory and a few other things that aren't so friendly. Jung, like Freud, was interested in the unconscious processes, but he dramatically altered from Freud's theory in some of these processes. Jung believed that not only do we have a personal unconscious, but we also have things that are forgotten or repressed in the collective unconscious. The collective unconscious is this store of human concepts shared by all people across all cultures. Now, he came to this conclusion after investigating stories and legends and things that exist in everybody's cultures. What he found were these similar plot points and what he called archetypes. And archetypes are the ideas and images of accumulated experiences of all human beings. Archetypes kind of look like this. They include the supreme beings, the heroes, a fertile young and nurturing mother, the wise old man, a hostile brother, even fairy godmothers and wicked witches, and themes such as rebirth and resurrection. Jung found that these concepts exist in all cultures across all religions. He also argued that these images remain unconscious and they appear to us in figures in our dreams, much like Sigmund Freud. He declared that these images influence our thoughts and our feelings, and that they help to form a foundation of personality development. So they come from our childhood and develop further into personality, those feelings and motives behind our behavior. And despite his interest in the collective unconscious, Jung granted more importance to conscious thoughts than Freud did, and he believed that one archetype is the sense of self. This self is a unifying force of personality that gives us direction and provides a sense of completeness. Further, Jung believed that every person's conscious can guide themselves, and it's characterized by these 4 functions of the mind, like thinking, feeling, intuition, and sensation. He argued that all 4 of these elements exist in everybody's unconscious, but an individual can be identified by the primary function in their expression. He thought that people could form healthy personalities by bringing together all of these conscious elements with a collective unconscious and archetypes. Sounds pretty complex, but this process he called individuation. So they all come together as one in the conscious mind. Critics of Jung may say that his theory is a little bit woo-woo, mystical, and it's not scientific, but it has tremendous influence among the general public. You've probably heard Jungian theory and you didn't even know it. Many people continue to analyze his dream work and the work towards getting individuated. Scholars explore the archetypal signals across cultures as they appear in art and literature. Jung's focus on myth has made him very popular with those interested in studying religion. Our next Neo-Freudian is Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler was another follower of Freud and psychoanalysis. He believed that people are basically motivated by a need to overcome feelings of inferiority. Adler coined the term inferiority complex. In some people, Adler said that feelings of inferiority may be based on physical problems, like maybe they're short, and now they want to overcompensate. They need to compensate for them. This theory may have developed in parts of Adler's own attempts to overcome reoccurring bouts of illness as a child. He was crippled by a disease called rickets, and he suffered from pneumonia. Physical problems, however, are not the only source of feeling inferior, according to Adler. He believed that all of us have some feelings of inferiority because of small sizes as children. He thought that these feelings give rise to a drive for superiority. Adler also introduced the term sibling rivalry to indicate the feelings of jealousy among siblings that are found between brothers and sisters. Now, unlike Jung, Adler believed that there is a level of self-awareness that plays a major role in the formation of our personality. He spoke of the creative self. The creative self is this self-awareness that strives to overcome obstacles and develop the individual's unique potential. President Theodore Roosevelt exemplified this theory. Roosevelt was frail as a child, and not only did he become president, but also a big and strong, robust man. Similarly, football quarterback Boomer Esiason, nod to the Ohio football fans, also suffered from juvenile arthritis, but overcame his disease to become a professional athlete. You may notice something different about this theorist in that she is female. So Karen Horney is our first female personality theorist, and I believe one of the only aside from Sybil Eysenck. But Karen Horney disputed Freud's view that women's lack of a penis causes them to envy men and feel inferior to them. So Freud said that women are inferior because they lacked males' genitalia. And of course, Karen Horney disputed this because, well, she was an educated woman and was ready to call Freud's bluff on that. She said that men actually envy women because they get what's called womb envy because they can't have children. She argued that women do feel inferior to men, but it's because of the personal and political structure of society and not due to their biology. So Horney had a strong belief that cultural practices and customs play a big role in personality development. Horney agreed with Freud that childhood experiences play a major role in the development of adult personality, and she believed that the greatest influences on personality is social relationships. Horney, like Freud, saw the parent-child relationships to be really important. Small children are completely dependent on their families, and so when parents treat them with indifference or harshness, children develop feelings of insecurity. Now, Horney called this basic anxiety. Because children also resent neglectful parents, Horney theorized that feelings of hostility would accompany this anxiety, and Horney agreed with Freud that children would repress rather than express their feelings of hostility because of the fear that it would drive those parents away. In contrast to Freud, however, she also believed that genuine and consistent love could temper the effects of even the most painful childhoods. Our last Neo-Freudian is Erik Erikson, and we've covered Erikson's stages of development in development. So Erikson said that each stage of life is associated with a specific psychological struggle, the struggle that contributes to the major aspects of our personality within this stage and structure. Now, I could go on to tell you all about this different stages and those disagreements, but I will save that for class when we look a little bit more at Erikson's theories, if we haven't done so already. Erik Erikson's stages of development are called the psychosocial stages of development, in contrast to Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages of development. Each stage has its own set of problems and practices that people have to advance through. As you can read here, they get a little bit complex. And again, we'll study more about that in class. So to conclude, Neo-Freudians came after Freud, and we're talking like early 1900s and onward until about the 1930s, 1940s. Erikson was around in the 30s. These Neo-Freudians include Carl Jung, Karen Horney, Alfred Adler, and Erik Erikson. We'll continue to investigate personality theories in the next lesson. Stick with me and you'll hear more. Thanks so much.